So how was the Goodwood Festival of Speed? Hello, I'm Drupy Designs, a visually impaired gamer, streamer and livery designer, and last week I was at the Goodwood Festival of Speed for the full weekend, and I want to talk you through it, what I did, what it's about, things we saw, people I met, and just the whole experience as a whole. For those of you that don't know, the Goodwood Festival of Speed is an annual event that celebrates all things automotive, from 6 wheels down to 4 to 3 to 2, and this year even down to 1 wheel. The access you get is incredible. It's a 4-day event, Thursday to Sunday, and you see some of the world's biggest car brands showing off cars from their past, present, and even the future. The weekend starts on the Thursday and builds up over the 4 days to the peak of the event, which is the shootout on the Sunday afternoon. So starting on the Thursday, when we got there, we found out that there was an accessibility team there that were helping out with transport for people with disabilities, whether it was a physical disability, visual impairment, like this guy, old age, people that couldn't move very well, because from the car park into the event was quite a long trek over not so very flat ground, and it saves tripping over any tree stumps or anything else on the way in, which I thought was really fantastic. What I will say is, while we were in the event, there didn't seem to be too many not marshals, I guess stewards maybe, so like with, or like helpers, I guess would be the word. Say with a place like Silverstone, with the British Grand Prix or British touring cars, they have race makers there that are there to help out. They're volunteers, and they just give little tips, and they show you where things are if you're stuck, or offer assistance. And there didn't seem to be too many of like people like that at Goodwood. But it's probably my only thing, because there were a few times where we were a bit lost and we didn't really know where we needed to go. The water points weren't necessarily too easy to find, and oh, did we need the water points, because it was a billion-1 degrees. But through the rest of the Thursday, we looked around the paddocks, we looked around the fan zones, and at the car brands that were there and all the displays they had, people giving away some free things, which is always a bonus, and all the market stalls and all the things there that were there to look at. There was one point which has been there a few times, and I think it's there every year. It's called the Future Lab, which isn't necessarily automotive, but it's looking into what scientists are doing now and looking at doing in the future. And one section that was in there was all about how they're mapping all of the oceans in the world, and how they're only at like 26% of the oceans scanned, and like seeing the sea life and everything, and that was super cool. On the other side of the Future Lab was the complete opposite of that, where there's a team of people looking out into the furthest reaches of space, which was super cool to get like the complete contrast. And then there was some like robotic stuff as well, and which was really freaky, because there was like this woman, but it was a robot, and it was very weird. But there was a cute little dog, and that was very adorable to watch it scamper around and go up and down and all the things. So that was cool. Now, we didn't actually see much track action on the Thursday. We were literally looking at all the cars in the paddock, and just seeing what cars were there, and what drivers and what teams and everything, which was super cool. Getting like a little bit close to the cars, and just having that little bit of insight of what we were going to be seeing over the coming days going up the hill. So on Friday, when we got there, we did have grandstand tickets for the Friday and the Sunday. So we spent a lot of Friday finding a good spot in the grandstands and seeing where we wanted to sit for the Sunday. And just seeing some of the stuff actually in action that we saw in the paddock the day before. There is literally every kind of motorsport there that you can imagine. Everything's represented in some capacity. You've got everything from F1 with the classic F1, there was like the six-wheel Tyrrell, all the way down to, there was like the more modern stuff. Haas had, I think it was the 2023 car, Red Bull had taken a car, there was the Brawn, which was an icon for me, and I'd love to see that thing in action. All going all the way back to some of the first Formula 1 cars from the likes of Ferrari and Maserati, and those like cigar cars. You've also got stuff like the touring cars, which was represented by the V8 supercars as opposed to like British touring cars, which I would have liked to have seen, but you can't have everything there all the time. It was really cool to see the comparison between the sidecar outfits and then some of the MotoGP bike, and there was also a single-wheeled thing. It was just a big wheel with a little motor in, and they're trying to set a world record to go 100 miles an hour in a single wheel, which is bonkers. Now, there were plenty of celebrations going on throughout the weekend. The main celebration was for Gordon Murray, who is well known for the fan car idea and his brand new T50, which is a gorgeous machine. There was also celebrations for F1 champions and the 75 years of F1 that's being celebrated this year, as well as Colin McRae. And now that was also mainly celebrated up on the rally stage at the top of the hill, which is where we spent Saturday. Now, this was my first taste of rally and like being by a stage, which was super cool. Been doing a lot of rallying, which you may have seen in my streams, although there was a lot less crashing than people would have seen in my streams. But it was super cool to see some classic rally cars getting flung around between the Goodwood trees, as well as proper modern day machinery with the top teams in WRC being there and flying the flag for rally. Now, on the Sunday, as I say, the main event is the shootout. So, where cars are entered in to see how quick they can get from the bottom to the top of the hill. Now, this record is set by the McMurtry from a couple of years ago, which is a fan car with like 2,000 kilograms of downforce while it's stationary, and it only weighs like, it's less than a ton. I think it does like 700 kilos or something, and it's got a record of like 39 seconds, I think. I could be completely wrong there. I haven't fact checked it, don't come at me. Now, there was nothing there that challenged that this year, but it was still super cool to see cars go up the hill as fast as they could and right on the ragged edge. One car that I really wanted to see was the Subaru Project Midnight. Just this carbon fibre, jet black, ultimate Subaru. It was driven this year by Scott Speed, and it was just awesome to see that thing ragging up the hill. It came second this year behind this. This Ford pickup truck, all electric, is what won the event. The thing looks absolutely bonkers, and here is the team celebrating and aura farming. Now, there were a selection of drivers and celebrities that I had the pleasure to meet over the weekend. While we were up in the rally section, I got to meet Travis Pastrana, who's someone I followed for many years, and it was awesome to meet him. We also met and had a wonderful chat with John Armstrong while we were up there talking about the EAWRC game, which was super cool. While we were back down in the fan zone, we met Vicky Butler-Henderson and Jimmy Broadbent, Mr. Simshed Dweller himself, in the BMW stand, so that was super cool to have a little chat with both of those as well. Had a little bit of a surprise on Thursday, and a friend was able to get us into the Bonhams auction, which is some very expensive cars, all on display and all up for auction. And to get in there, you could go through the Goodwood house and got a very blurry picture of the Duke of Richmond, which was very awesome. Something else that was super awesome to see was the drifters. Now, haven't really seen professional drifters in action, and so to see them just shredding up the hill was incredible. Doing things to cars that probably shouldn't be done to cars, and pushing the limits of what you can do with machinery and rubber. And turning most of that machinery and rubber into smoke. So if you are in any way interested in cars, motorsport, automotive, I can highly recommend going. Prices aren't too bad at the minute. I believe they're on early sale ticket price at the minute, which I think is around £250 to £300 for the 4-day event ticket, which for what you get is quite a bargain, considering for F1 for a 3-day ticket you're looking at like £500, and you get far less access than you get at Goodwood. But everybody, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, please do consider hitting the like and subscribe button to come back for future videos. Have a fantastic day and keep plodding on.